So Iron Man 3 just came out this weekend, and I thought that would be a great time to see how far we've come since Batman 66. First, a little bit about Iron Man 3. I saw it on Thursday night, and it was outstanding. I loved it. It was everything that I wanted it to be. The writer-director of it is Shane Black, and if you've seen his last movie, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, Iron Man 3 feels like Tony Stark mixed with Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. I mean, it was funny. It was action-packed. Shane Black has such a great way of taking normal movie expectations and then twisting them just a little bit to kind of throw everything off kilter. His style now is outstanding. He also wrote a whole bunch of movies that were awesome. Monster Squad. Now to give you a quick version of Batman the movie from 1966, starring Adam West. This is the campiest look at a superhero ever, and every campy look at a superhero since then has been a nod to the Batman series from the 60s. Batman the movie, 1966. Batman and Robin immediately run to the Batcave, flip the switch into their costumes, and head off because they hear that a yacht is in danger. They're taking the Batcopter, and as they pass overhead, it's obvious that everybody loves Batman. You know, models of bikinis love Batman, and the police force loves Batman, and picnicking couples love Batman. Batman is a beloved figure in Gotham City. As they approach the yacht that's in danger, the yacht disappears, and Batman gets lowered into the water, and then when he gets pulled back up, there's a shark on his leg. Oh no! Robin, pass me the shark repellent bat spray. Robin comes down with the shark repellent bat spray, and he sprays him, and the shark finally falls off his leg and explodes as it hits the water. Yeah. So using the supercriminal computer, they find out which supercriminals are at large. And they find out that it's the Penguin and the Riddler and the Joker and Catwoman. They're all at large. Uh-oh, what if they're teaming up? That is their hypothesis. So then we see the bad guys having a hard time getting along, but they have kidnapped Commodore Schmidlap. He doesn't realize he's been kidnapped. He thinks he's on like a pleasure cruise or something. As they try to figure out what the deal was with the yacht, and they figure out that it was a hologram, Robin's typing is amazing. And then they go to the Batboat to go look for what cast the hologram in the ocean. It was a hologram casting buoy. The bad guys are in the Penguin submarine, which looks amazing, and they magnetize Batman and Robin to the buoy because their utility belts are hypermagnetic. So they start firing torpedoes at them, and Batman uses the super energy reverse polarizer to make the torpedoes explode early. It fails. It like runs out of batteries or something. This last torpedo is coming and it doesn't look good for everybody, and we hear an explosion. They're not on the buoy anymore. It must have killed them, and then the bad guys celebrate. And then we see Batman and Robin talking about how a noble porpoise jumped in front of the torpedo and gave his life for them.
It was noble of that animal to hurl himself into the path of that final torpedo.
Already you're seeing a lot of parallels between this and the Christopher Nolan Batman movies. So then the bad guys come up with another plan to kidnap Bruce Wayne so that Batman will have to come save him. So Catwoman poses as a Russian reporter called Kitka and goes on a date with Bruce Wayne. And she starts sending Morse code to the other bad guys with her little Morse code radio that's shaped like a cat. Of course, the eyes glow. Otherwise, how would you know that Morse is being coded? And then she takes him back to her place. Ooh! Then all the bad guys take jetpack umbrellas across the sky and kidnap Bruce, and Robin and Alfred are like, doggone it! Because they weren't watching because they thought things were about to get a little steamy in there, and they thought it wouldn't be right to spy on him in those circumstances. So they shut off the equipment. They're very honorable and unreliable backup. Bruce fights everybody off, and he goes back to the Batcave. He and Robin get into costume, and they start heading back to the wharf, which is where he was taken when he was kidnapped, so that they can save the beautiful Russian reporter, Miss Kitka. While they're on their way, the bad guys experiment using Commodore Schmidlap's Total Dehydrator. It's a new invention. Removes all of the moisture from somebody's body and turns them into powder. Batman and Robin get back to the wharf lair. They walk up a wall. Then there's a bomb, and Batman's trying to get rid of it. But there are people everywhere, and he doesn't want to blow up anybody. He runs into some nuns, and then he runs into a baby carriage, and he's not going to blow up anybody. And there are people coming up from the pier, and then he runs into the nuns again, and that baby carriage comes back. And then there is a little group of ducks. He doesn't want to hurt them either. And then Batman says one of the greatest lines in cinematic history.
Some days you just can't get rid of a bomb.
Doesn't that encapsulate the human experience. So he gets rid of the bomb at the last second. Then the Penguin comes up posing as Commodore Schmidlap. The guys don't believe him. They say, no, you're the Penguin. And he's like, no, I've never heard of this penguin fellow. I am Commodore Schmidlap. And they're like, okay, we can prove this. We're going to take you back to the Batcave and run some tests on you that prove that you're not Commodore Schmidlap. And he's like, okay, they blindfold him. They take him back to the Batcave. Penguin rehydrates the henchmen, but because of their heavy water in the Batcave, the guys come back unstable and disappear upon contact. Not very useful henchmen anymore. So Penguin steals the Batmobile. That was their plan, because the Batmobile obviously has a tracking device on it, and they want to follow him back to where the new lair is. And so they get on the Bat cycle and take it to the Batcopter. They hop in the Batcopter and they head up. One of the things the Riddler's been doing, I haven't been telling you about it, is that he's been firing these missiles up into the air that, you know, burst into skywriting that are riddles. So he sends up this missile, narrowly misses the Batcopter. However, it totally throws off the entire navigational systems of the Batcopter, and Batman and Robin are falling out of the sky. We're going to pause here for a second. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about Batman and Robin, and then I'll tell you the end of Batman, the movie 66. But if you're looking for a superhero movie, this is not how we deal with our superheroes anymore. It definitely has no affection for the idea of costume vigilante justice, you know? It's all about making jokes, and it's like a spoof. It's like a spoof of Batman. A lot of the dialogue is very clever and things like that. It's filled with puns everywhere. So, I mean, it's a good time. But it's not how I want my superhero stuff anymore. Which leads me to the question of this week. I like Iron Man 3 almost as much as I like Iron Man 1 and the Avengers. I'm having a hard time believing I don't like it as much. I need to see it a second time. So last summer, when the Avengers came out and everybody thought it was the greatest superhero movie ever, could be. Whenever this came up in conversation, I began asking the question, which is a better movie? The Avengers or The Dark Knight? Not The Dark Knight Rises. I know that came out at the same time-ish. The one with the Joker and the Bat Cycle for the first time and everything. One of the greatest superhero movies ever made. Which of the two would you consider the better film? Back to the ending of Batman the movie, and Batman and Robin are falling out of the sky. There is a foam rubber convention going on, and the Batcopter lands on the foam rubber, making sure they have a very soft and safe landing. So the riddle that was written in the sky tells them the exact location of where their next nefarious plan is going to take place. The fact that they're able to decipher these riddles into the exact location of crimes is ridiculous.
What goes up white and comes down yellow and white?
An egg!
How do you divide 17 apples among 16 people?
Make applesauce!
Apples into applesauce. A unification into one smooth mixture. An egg. Nature's perfect container. The container of all our hopes for the future.
A unification in a container of hope? United World Organization!
Precisely, Robin.
So they go to the United World Headquarters, which is basically the UN. Penguin knocks everybody out with an awesome umbrella, and then dehydrates the entire United World Security Council. And then they go to send ransom notes to each country for $1 billion each. And Batman shows up in the Batboat with Robin, and they try to hit him with torpedoes and missiles, but he keeps jamming the signals. Robin uses bat charges to trigger the torpedoes early, and then he starts firing bat charges at the sub, and it's pretty effective and colorful. The sub surfaces, Batman and Robin fight everybody, and then they tie up the bad guys in the water. Catwoman is unmasked, and Batman sees that it's Miss Kitka, and that he was deceived, and that it was Catwoman the whole time.
Holy heartbreak!
And he has maybe a 45-second long staring into space sequence where he just stares and a French song plays on the soundtrack. I mean, it goes on for like a really long time. So then they get back the powder test tubes that have the United World Security Council in them, and they're going to be very careful about it, but Commodore Schmidlap shows up, trips over like something on the ground, and knocks over everybody, and all the powders get mixed together, and they're like, oh no, what's going to happen? Batman and Robin take them back to the Batcave to try and get the powders separated so that the people can be rehydrated. Then everything gets really slow. The dialogue gets really slow. They're like slowing it down to play for this tension. Will they be able to rehydrate the United World Security Council? A, I didn't really care, and B, everything started taking way too long. So they go back to the United World Security Council. They've separated the powders in their Batcave with their bat machinery. They go to rehydrate, And it comes back. Everybody in the world celebrates. However, then we find out that they mixed up the languages and the cultures. Delegates are kind of a mishmash of cultural heritages and accents. Batman hypothesizes that perhaps this mix-up is maybe the best thing to happen to peace and understanding of the world and ever. And then he and Robin jump out the window, start climbing down the building. One more study guide next week, then we're gonna go back to Pop's updates. That was Batman the movie from 1966.